Welcome to the channel. It's been a hot while since I've done anything bike related. That includes actually riding a bike. I don't mean just on the channel. So as you can see, well, you can't really see out that window because it is dirty as hell. It needs clean on the outside. But yeah, the weather is glorious outside, and inside we have a big bag. It's not a bag, it's a bike of misery. We have a new bike, so I was a little bit bored the past week or so, I decided to buy a new bike. So don't get me wrong, don't be watching this video thinking this is my only bike and I think this is a good bike. This is a Carrera Vengeance limited disc or whatever, I think they call it that. And this is not my only bike. I have another bike. I would call the other bike my trail bike. It's a Vitas Blitz 2. I've had it for ages. It's an old school 26 inch. I think it's like 2012 model. So yes, this is my new bike. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go down to Cannock Chase. And I'm probably going to destroy it, which is why I'm filming this video before I actually destroy it. I don't know why, but it seems really hazy in here. It might just be the lighting through the window, but the quality of the footage isn't very good through the viewfinder of the phone, or the screen of the phone, which is acting as a view. Anyway, so yes, just a quick overview of this bike. It has 27.5 inch wheels, so this is will be the first time I will be riding a 27.5 inch bike. Obviously that's kind of like the new standard. It's more popular than 29 inch. Don't want a 29 inch. I was watching some World Cup downhill or something, and the 29 inch downhill bikes just look fucking shit. These, I don't notice them, they just look like normal wheels on a bike. 29 inch looks shit. So anyway, this bike looks shit, whatever. So yeah, we have the 27.5 inch wheels with some rims that are probably gonna look pretty bent at some point, possibly not by the end of the day, but they will be bent at some point. I imagine I'll probably like try and throw a 180 pedal hop or something and land at a right angle and just pringle them or something. They have some Kenda tyres. They look like lower end Kenda tyres. Hopefully they have some sort of puncture resistance. I think I've got about 32 psi in these. I'm running car pressures in these. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I can't actually remember how much pressure I used to run for riding trails. I went out on the Vitas last week and I had like 40 psi because I didn't have any tubes on me. Managed to get hold of a couple of tubes from the bike the bike shop at the trail centre, and then I lowered them down to 10 psi, not realising because I wasn't using a gauge. And then I put them back up to about 30 psi, and they seemed quite grippy and a lot less skittish than 40 psi, as you can imagine. We have a goddamn fucking. If I was going to buy any bike, like I'm looking at bikes, full suspension bikes and things, and they're like £1,000, and they have Suntour forks. I do not buy Suntour forks unless they come on a ridiculously cheap bike. Because they are just dog shit. These are, I think, they're grease on the inside, grease and probably elastomer. Plastic top caps. They remind me of the old school RSTs. I would say the old school Suntours, but old school Suntours seem to be a lot worse than these. Not that I ever actually had any. We got these Clark's Clout, they call them, disc brakes, front and rear. I don't really know much about these. The levers look pretty decent, to be honest. The levers look quite high quality. They remind me of maybe old school Formula brakes. I don't know, a little bit Shimano, old school Shimano. And they look pretty decent. The discs aren't, locking up and gripping yet. They're not bedded in, so hopefully they will bed in, and the brake pads aren't just made of cheese or anything. We have no lock-on grips. We have grips that have space for the wire to be kind of twisted round there. forget what you call it, aerospace wire. I don't know what you call it. Can't remember. Anyway, moving on. I do need to move these shifters and brake levers inboard a little bit. Usually I would swap these round so I can get the brake lever quite far out so I can one finger brake, because I can't ride a bike with two finger braking. However, that would mean taking the grips off. I don't have anything to stick the grips down. I said they're not lock on, so it's not easy to say. Well, it is easy, but I don't want to take the grips off and then have them spinning round all day because they're not stuck on properly. We have some bars. I don't know how wide these are. They're kind of I'd guess like a 15mm rise maybe. They don't look too bad, to be honest, and I'm quite impressed with the, well, I won't say impressed, but for the price, I say impressed with the stem. I imagine that's a sticker saying basically do not ride this bike or it will break. So yeah, the frame has pannier rack mounts because you need panniers on the trails. I like to pannier on the trails, baby. And the frame doesn't look too bad. You can't really see it here because the light's very bright behind me. We have a single bolt, the devil's work, single bolt. God damn, the light, I can't see anything myself. Single bolt seat post, so that will be broke by the end of the day. What tends to happen with these things is the bolt just snaps. They're just horrendous. You've got to have at least double bolt on a seat post or some sort of different design, some wedge or clamp with a hinge or anything other than a single bolt. It will break. We've got a saddle with space for my mangina there. Either that or it's so I can drop my guts on the fly, I don't know, and it'll all spill out the back. So I'm going to drop in your guts. This looks like somebody's dropped out the guts. We have a pressed Shimano chain set. This is plastic here. These do not unbolt. They are permanently attached, these chain rings, to the chain set. We have a Shimano Tawny front derailleur that constantly grinds on the damn chain. I've tried adjusting it. I don't know whether maybe the clamp on the frame can't bother with that. If I adjust that, I will open a can of worms and just be all day trying to fix these gears, which cannot be fixed because they're just crap, basically. That's the state they're in at the minute. We have these pedals that, yep, they don't really have bearings. They are so horrible. You can almost hear how rough them bearings are on the video, I imagine. KMC 8-speed chain, because this is an 8-speed. We have Altus derailleur at the back with a big fuck-off jockey wheel that's probably going to explode. Usually with these cheap mechs, from what I remember back in the day, the bolt undoes, jockey wheel pings out, you can't find any of it, and you have to throw the mech in the bin. It does have replacement dropouts, which is a good thing, because the first ever Carrera bike that I had, probably my first ever, no, it wasn't my first ever brand new mountain bike, but basically I was bought a Carrera Vulcan, well, this has been like a fucking 1998 or something, proper old school, and it didn't have replaceable dropouts, so the derailleur ended up in the back wheel, ripping all the spokes out and stuff, I think, and it threaded the cross-threaded the dropout. So I had to get one with a nut through it and bend it all back and stuff. And I was on holiday at a campsite at the time, so that was fun. The hubs are absolutely atrocious. If I just give this a spin. That is the noise of the hubs. They're open, and well, I say they're open. They're not open. They've got a shitty rubber seal on them. Don't know what brand they are. Don't care, because they will just last about 10 minutes on the trail. We have a Shimano, in case you want to buy one, a CSHG 208BR. That's what says Shimano, and it reminds you that it's cassette sprockets. Why is it on cheap bikes they have to remind you what everything is? You know, you don't buy a high-end bike and it says cassette sprockets on it. So yeah, this is an absolutely diabolical bike. And the funny thing is, if you search Carrera Vengeance on YouTube, did it last night, basically you got some Indian guy who thinks it's the best bike ever, thinks he's like he probably thinks he can win the Tour de France on it, which isn't even a mountain bike event, but that's the kind of level of person we're talking about, an absolute idiot. And then you get loads of kids like, it's got suspension, and I could teach you how to do wheelies on it, and like, shut the fuck up, this bike is crap. But having said that, I am pretty impressed. I paid £280 for this. It was 50 quid off in the sale. I say sale with quotations because Halfords are one of those companies that likes to, you know, sell something for full price for a week so they can then con you into thinking it's on sale when it's not. But yeah, for 280 quid, it's a lot of bike. I mean, the frame is probably pretty heavy. It's probably like 4.5 pounds, I imagine, without any components. The forks are going to be over £4, which is diabolical, and the components are going to be heavy. The wheels are shit, but the frame, it's not great, but it's a frame, you know. That's all I can say. The brakes, I'm interested in these to find out what they actually ride like. I'm going to actually go and hit the trails on this bike. I'm going to take the GoPro with me if I remember, which is the whole point of this video, so I hope I do. Yeah, these Clark's Clout brakes, they're hydraulics. Don't worry, I'm not like an idiot that's never had, like, I might even throw something into this video to show you what bikes I've had before. I've had all sorts. I've had like fucking Marion Quakes, I've had Boardman full suspensions, I've had a Santa Cruz V10, Commensal Supreme, just all sorts of fucking actual not that bad bikes. But this is my new one, so let's I'll get a shower and we'll hit that nice weather outside. It's been absolutely smashing it down like all day yesterday, so it's going to be pretty muddy, but hopefully there'll be something that's dry that I can hit. So I would call myself kind of experienced when it comes to mechanics and the mechanics of a mountain bike, and I am pretty fucking shocked at how much torque this is as it's come out of the box. How much torque are on these fucking levers. So if you don't know, it's just supposed to have enough torque just to hold the, you know, lever in place. So if you have a crash, you don't bend the lever and the actual lever blade and just smash and twist the brake to bits. And the amount of fucking torque on these bolts for the brakes and the shifters is just outrageous. So not impressed with that. I'm wearing sunglasses, so it's kind of hard to see where I'm going. Okay. Smoothly on this fucking other bike. Oh. Gonna die. Kind of all good so far, except when you hit a massive puddle, you need more than a pair of Suntour XCM30s. They are quite diabolical. But yeah, I don't know really what that's saying when the puddles are the most technical part of the trail. Brakes are struggling. Painful with a triple chain set. Okay, this is more painful. Christ. brake lever should do that, and it instead, I mean, it's kind of returning, but it's kind of not fast enough. It's not how you want it. It's not perfect. Halfords bikes. My average mile per gallon is absolutely outrageous for that trip. 74.6. Fuck me. So as you can see, I've had a bit of a change of clothes. Got my scraggy t-shirt on and some scraggy shorts. And yeah, it's a few hours since I got back from riding the Carrera around the mostly the Monkey Trail at Cannock Chase. Did do a couple of, deviations, but I won't really go into that. So yeah, it's still in one piece. The only thing I am aware of that is dodgy is this brake lever that I have been going on about. It's not returning fully like it's supposed to. I mean, you can't make it do the noise, you know what I mean? So yeah, I whipped out my usual trail bike. This is my 26-inch Vitus Blitz 2. It has slick tyres on because I've been using it to commute to and from work. It usually has some Schwalbe knobby nicks, I believe, on there, 2.25s. So yeah, I just wanted to whip this bike out to show you that I'm not like somebody who rides shit bikes, and I've got this Carrera and I think it's the best thing ever. I don't think it's the best thing ever, let's get that out of the way. But I just wanted to show that, this is a kind of, it's not an amazing bike by any means, but it is a capable trail machine. We've got some RockShox Recon, Silver R, whatever. Yeah, they've never given me any trouble. They feel just like the Rebas and Domains and the RockShox forks that I've had before them. And it's got Avid Elixir ones, which aren't great brakes. They're certainly better than the ones on the Carrera, and I was going to say the levers have never given me any trouble. There is an issue with these. I don't know whether they're using mineral oil or dot brake fluid, but every so often I have to let a little bit of fluid out because the fluid expands or something and pushes the pads out and basically locks the brake on, so not ideal. Yeah, and we got some decent-ish Travative finishing kit, lock-on grips. This bike isn't standard. It has a Syncross seat post that was on one of my old Marins, and it has a Sora Road mech and a Dior shifter. It originally came with SRAM X7 shifters and an X5 mech. I think the thinking with that was that the mech is the least important bit because it's probably the first thing people upgrade on a bike anyway, so put a shit mech on, people can upgrade it, and the shifters are fine. So yeah, everything on this bike performs admirably when you're out on the trail. The shifting's not the best, but it's still slick enough. Doesn't give you any shit when you're trying to get up a little embankment or anything like that. So I'm now going to turn the camera off and move this bike out of the way. So back to the Carrera. What did I like about this bike? What didn't I like? To be honest, the Vitus is a medium. I think that's an 18.5-inch frame. This is 20. This bike seems to, I wouldn't say that the Vitus doesn't fit me. This seems to fit me a little bit better. I'm about 6'1"-ish. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. I've never really measured myself, to be honest. Well, I have, but not to that degree of accuracy. Bad points, triple chain set. The outer chain rings are really, really sharp. Oh, chains off. And I could occasionally kind of feel my calf, you know, just brushing them, and they're really uncomfortable. The pedals, they're not the best, but they were better than I was expecting. So when I first started riding this bike, with the trainers on that I wasn't actually riding the trails in, when I was first testing the bike out, there was no grip on these pedals, but once I changed the trainers, they were fine. Square taper cranks, so they probably will fall off or round off or something along those lines eventually. But for now, they are fine. The mech, front mech rattly because I couldn't seem to adjust it to any position where it wouldn't rattle constantly in pretty much every gear. The wheels are fine. There aren't any dings. They're not buckled or anything like that. I don't know whether these are double-walled rims. They possibly are. I don't know. Spokes feel tight. Oh, yep. Thought that was a loose one then, but it wasn't. So yeah, spokes all feel as they were to begin with. Get down to the front. So yeah, it's pretty much still intact. However, this fork, whilst I didn't feel like the fork was slowing me down too much, I think it must have 80mm of travel. Appearances would suggest that the fork's got about maybe 100-120mm travel, but about there I think is the stroke of these forks. The main issue with them was when there is a puddle and it's blind. So what I mean by that is when you plough into a puddle and you don't know how deep it is. Sometimes when the rut was just too big that made the puddle, it did not feel nice. But maybe that's because when I'm riding other stuff that I can actually see, I'm kind of compensating for it. I'm not 100% sure, probably just by instinct I'm doing that. So yeah, the tyres were actually quite impressive. They were pretty grippy. And to be honest, I don't know, I'm guessing this is kind of the 27.5-inch wheel effect. I kind of felt like when I was climbing and in various other situations that I had loads of traction.
This is a beast of a climb.
And the small bump compliance, it didn't really feel much worse than riding this 4-inch full suspension bike. As regards to a kind of format of bike to ride, very impressed with the 27.5-inch. The bike did climb pretty well. I mean, it is a heavy bike, 31 pounds. That's probably about the same, but that's, you know, full suspension, so obviously. But yeah, I very rarely had problems with traction. Actually, there was a group of like 3 people, and I stopped. I'll put a clip in. I stopped and let 2 of them pass, and the second one said, "There's another one coming." And basically that guy came past. I waited for him to come past, and I thought, this guy's, you know, lagging behind quite a bit, so I'll see how fast he is. So starts to pedal after him, and he just wipes out on the first berm that I'm following him through. Yeah, I'm guessing the Carrera had more grip in that berm. Maybe not, but certainly I didn't fall off at any point during the day.
Underwhelming grip on the front.
I actually managed to do a trail. I'll put the video at the end of this video. I actually managed to do that section of trail faster on this than this. The only thing I will say about that though, when I went out on this, it was for the first time down Cannock in like 5-6 years. So I was kind of going down it tentatively because I didn't know whether they'd just, shove rocks in weird new places and fitted big drops and jumps and just dangerous shit. So it was kind of a little bit of a feeler run on that. This, I had 2 runs down that trail and I think both of them were faster. So yeah, it's definitely a bike that a lot of people will be that the bike won't be their limit, because if I can ride this, I'll put some Strava things in as well, some little images and stuff, some screen captures, because I was recording with Strava, and out of 39 riders it recorded the bit of trail, the one that I did a couple of times and was faster on this and that. I was 7th fastest out of the 39 people that had recorded it on Strava. So these are people, a lot of these people are going to be on 2, 3, 4 grand trail bikes, and I'm on a 280 pound Halfords bike. So I'm not going to, I don't need to blame the tools, because I was clearly not limited by the bike. Would I recommend buying this bike and hammering it around like Cannock Chase or something, Monkey Trail, whatever, follow the dog if you're feeling lazy? No. The reason I say that is, whilst it's lasted today, this bike isn't gonna last many rides before things start to break. I would recommend this bike to somebody who wants to go into Halfords, pay on finance, and basically just use it to get a cheap roll-in stock kind of chassis bike going on. And, the sort of person that's immediately going to start upgrading things. It doesn't matter that the wheels are shit, because you're going to change them after the first ride. And then it doesn't matter that the fork's going to break in 2 months, because you're going to get a new fork in 2 months. So that's, kind of why I bought the bike, to upgrade it. And it looks like a decent base for doing that, to be honest. Kind of, it's done what I've set out for it to do. So I'm going to stick some videos and stuff, some clips, some GoPro and all that shit in. And yeah, I don't really know what to say, apart from keep away from the videos of kids doing reviews on Carrera bikes, because they're all fucking idiots. And on a side note, I didn't actually realise how cheap these Clark's brakes are. They're like 25 quid each. When I was riding years ago, it used to cost like 15 quid for one of these discs. And now you can get a brake for 25 quid, albeit one that's crap. I didn't mention the brakes, did I? They do a good enough job of slowing you down whilst you're going through berms and things. However, I say they do a good enough job. You basically have both brakes on as hard as you can pull them to get round the berm in one piece. So they just do the job. And I, with the quality of them, I can see them being pretty fucking broke soon. So, but again, brakes are something you upgrade on a bike, and they've lasted one ride, they might last another ride. Who knows, I could still be using them 6 months down the line and then upgrade the brakes. So thanks for watching. It's been boring, probably, unless you want to buy one of these bikes. And if you can get it for 280 and you don't have anything else to ride, then go for it. Just don't expect it to last very long if you absolutely hammer it. But it is a good base for upgrading. Okay.